Hi guys, and welcome back to I'll Read What She's Reading. I'm Mikayla.
I'm Reggie. And I'm Kennedy.
And today we're going to be talking about book to movie / TV adaptations. Before we begin that, we're going to update you guys on, remember a few episodes ago, we picked books for each other to read. And so we're going to update each other on what we rated them, what we liked them, and everything like that. So
that was kind of a long time ago.
That
probably,
was.
what, 2 months ago?
Probably. So when I say a couple episodes, it's probably like
several.
10.
I don't know. Who knows?
10 episodes ago. If you are a first-time listener, we sometimes do a little segment where we pick books for each other to read, and then we,
report back.
Yeah, report back about it. So this is our update on the last time we picked books for each other. So
you should go first, Mikayla.
Okay. So Kennedy picked for me, and it was Scythe.
Mm-hmm.
Did I pronounce it correct? By Neil.
It's like Schusterman or something.
Yeah. Scythe. It's like with the red cover with the, little. Anyways, it was really good. I think I rated it 3.5, 3. The world itself was very interesting and different, which I really enjoyed. I just have had a hard time with young adult characters recently. And it's not even like when I read it, it's just like every young adult character I've been reading has just been driving me crazy. So I think it was more a me problem than like a book problem, but I really liked how different it was from like some of the other books I was reading. So I think it was a really great pick. I did read the first 2 in this series and I thought they were really good. I liked the ending of the second one a lot. Kennedy advised me to not read the third one, and I can understand why, and I will eventually look up the synopsis for it. But yeah.
Did you know there's a 4th book
coming out?
No, I'm pretty sure it's out.
I think it's like a 0.5.
But it's thick.
Is it?
And I will not be reading that one.
I think it's like 3.5.
I agree with you. The world is really cool and the concept is very interesting. But after the first and second, it just got a little convoluted and a little wild. So,
yeah.
But I did talk to somebody who read the series and loved every single book. So if you're looking for a young adult, dystopian, unique book, I would recommend that. But go into it with really low expectations. It's not anything that's revolutionary.
I didn't realize it was going to be like dystopian for some reason. I really had little knowledge about it. I didn't read the back. I don't know why I thought it was going to be like kind of fantasy, but it wasn't at all. Not really.
It's more dystopian than fantasy.
Yeah, way more dystopian because it's like in the future, if that's how our world became. So it was a wild ride. So who wants to report next?
Reggie? I will report. I was gonna say I can't really see you. Hi. Okay. Mikayla picked The Things We Leave Unfinished by Rebecca Yarros for me. And I thought I gave it 4 stars, but I gave it 5 stars. I thought I gave it 4. But a very, very good read. I loved that it was dual point of view and also dual timeline. If you're familiar with Rebecca Yarros' romance books, not Fourth Wing, she writes a lot of like military romance. And so there's like present day and then there's flashbacks, and it was very, very good. I really liked it. I was glad Mikayla picked it for me because it's been one of those books that has been on my TBR for a long time, but it's almost been on my TBR for so long that I kind of forgot that it was on my TBR. And I was really glad I finally got the push to read it because I really enjoyed it. There wasn't anything I disliked about it. It got me in my feels. And I would recommend that book to many, many people. So, yeah. And the audiobook, I listened to part of the audiobook. The audiobook's fun too because there's lots of different voices and characters and stuff. So,
yeah, I'm so glad you liked it.
Yeah, it was very good.
That's good. You also read it.
I did read it, and I really liked it.
Yeah, it is.
It's a tearjerker.
It is.
It is a tearjerker.
It is.
I wasn't expecting to, I don't know what I was expecting when I started the book. I know a lot of people say they cry in it, so I was like, okay, like it might be like an emotional book, which it was, but it was also, there were so many other elements to it that I wasn't anticipating, which made it really fun. So check out The Things We Leave Unfinished if you're needing a book to make you cry. Yeah, it's
good.
Just a good, feel good book.
Reggie picked for me. She only picked the first book in the War of Lost Hearts trilogy, but I read all of them. The first one is
Daughter of No
Worlds. So the War of Lost Hearts trilogy / Daughter of No Worlds by Carissa Broadbent. And she didn't pick the third book, but the third book in the trilogy was my favorite. Very good. There was one part in the first book where I sobbed on a golf cart in front of my husband and his friends. It was rather embarrassing, but there's just something that happens in the first book that really sends you into orbit.
I think about this trilogy and I get tear every single time.
Very fun trilogy. A lot of people compare it to Throne of Glass, which I don't like that comparison at all, because I feel like I saw so many TikToks comparing it to Throne of Glass, so I feel like I went into it expecting Throne of Glass, so I was a little disappointed. So don't go into it expecting Throne of Glass. I saw people compare the third book in the trilogy to Kingdom of Ash.
Yeah, I don't know why.
I hate that comparison.
I don't understand.
But very, very good trilogy. I do wish that it would have been a duology, like the Crowns of Nyaxia series.
Mm-hmm.
There were certain parts in the first and second book that just felt really repetitive and kind of like, what are we doing here? Mm-hmm. So I do think it could have been longer, like 2 long books, like 2 700-page books, 800-page books. The magic system is really cool, and the main male character is just a little sweetie pie. I want to hug him and just love on him. So
yeah,
overall I gave the series 4 stars, which is amazing. So I'm very glad she recommended it to me, because I don't know when I would have gotten to it had she not recommended it.
Yeah, I selfishly just needed someone to talk to about it. So
now we'll just wait for Mikayla to read it. I do think you'll really enjoy it.
Okay.
I've also just been a really big hater lately. For some reason, no books I read have been hitting like I want them to. And it's a me problem. It is a me problem. I haven't had a 5-star read in like 3 months.
Yeah. I just feel really nervous to pick up a lot of these books.
Have we hit our peak? Have we hit our peak in reading, everyone?
No,
just
and
kidding.
I think it's just because you enjoy those. You guys both enjoy Red Rising and Daughter of No Worlds so much, and I'm like nervous that I'm not going to enjoy them.
Go in with low expectations.
Yeah, but you know what? Here's the thing. Our podcast guest for next week. Surprise, guys, we have a podcast guest. I'm not going to say who it is. I saw her read Red Rising, and she rated it 2.5 stars.
Mm-hmm.
So you know what? And I didn't have a breakdown. So if you read Red Rising and you don't like it, I'm going to be okay.
Yeah.
I will be okay.
I think it's just like you want to enjoy it.
I do.
Yeah.
And it's been hyped up quite a bit. Not just from you guys, but from everyone else.
Yeah.
And so I feel really nervous when books are hyped up to me. And I've been trying to really hard to not hype books up for other people at all. I just say like, oh, they're really good. I think you'll enjoy it. And that's as much as I say, because I feel like there's this pressure behind when people hype up books. And if I don't feel the same, I'm like, is something wrong with me? And so I don't know. That's just, I feel really nervous. There's like quite a few books I have on my full TBR that I just have not touched because I'm like so nervous. I don't know why. And anyways, I just read Fable and I had no expectations for it and I absolutely loved them so much. And so I'm like, maybe I just need to like just give myself no expectations for some of these books and then hopefully I'll like them.
Hey, if it makes you feel any better, the first Red Rising book is the worst one. So,
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Anyways, I think that was all we needed to update on, right?
Yeah.
Should we get into our episode?
yeah.
Yes.
Talking about movies and TV shows that were first books. So,
And speaking of books that I have probably overhyped for a lot of people, we can start off with the first book to TV adaptation, which is Dark Matter by Blake Crouch. I really, really loved that book. It made me fall in love with sci-fi. If you guys haven't listened to me talk about it before, just a really good book that completely surprised me in every way. And the TV show was done actually really well. I was feeling really scared to watch the TV show just because of how much I loved the book and how highly I think of the book. But honestly, I think they did such a great job. Absolutely incredible.
it's really good. I really liked it.
I will say if you haven't read the book, watching the show, the first probably like 4 or 5 episodes were a little slow. Kind of like, can we move on? Can we get this going? At least for me, I thought they were a little slow. My husband also thought it was a little slow because he hadn't read the books, but he watched the show with me. But the last 3 episodes,
Very
roller
good.
coaster.
Intense.
They definitely changed some things, but honestly, I was a big fan of most of the changes that they made. So it's one of those, I think I said this on the podcast before, but my husband watched it with me. And when we were done watching the show, he was like, why didn't you tell me to read the book first? And I was like, I told you to read the book first, but you were like, no, just watch the show. So he really wishes he would have read the book because after one of the episodes, he like pulled open the book because I had it sitting out and he probably read like 4 or 5 chapters. He just sat there and just kept like reading it. And then I was like, okay, you got to stop at like this page because that's when like the current episode we had just watched ends. And he was like, yeah, I really wish I would have read this book. And it was really easy it's not a very long book. So definitely pick up the book first. Yeah, a fun sci-fi, kind of thrillery in a sense ish.
Kyle thought it was scary, but he thinks a lot of things are scary. He was scared the last few episodes. He was like,
They're intense.
Yeah,
they're
very intense. Suspense.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
I
that's
think
probably
it's
one of
good.
my favorite book to TV adaptations I've seen. So
it's also one that you can watch with anyone. Like all of our husbands really enjoyed it. So like if you're a book girly that has a significant other or is married, and they're not book readers, I think they would really enjoy it and it's something you guys can both do together. So it was really good. I really liked it.
I squealed like a little girl at certain episodes. There were a few things that were in the books that I was going to be really upset if they were not in the show. And we're winding down to the last few episodes and those things still hadn't happened. And I was so upset, but they were there.
They were there.
They added all the good that was from the book and added some things to the TV show that I think made it a lot more interesting for TV.
Yeah. It was well done.
Congrats, Blake Crouch. You did a
Yes,
great
he
job.
Did a great
5 stars,
5.
10 stars.
All
The
right.
next one I have not seen, so I'll let you guys.
You haven't seen
I haven't seen it. I haven't read it.
Okay.
Oh.
So I'll let you guys discuss. At this point, I don't know. Okay, let me tell you the book real quick. A Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes. I don't even know if I'm going to read the book at this point because I feel like I've seen spoilers on TikTok from like fan edits that people have made. So
I have not seen the movie. Oh, I know.
You haven't seen the movie?
No, I have not
yet?
seen the movie yet. Okay. Read the book. Even though I haven't seen the movie, Mikayla, you can say whether or not this is accurate or not.
all right.
I wish I would have just watched the movie and not read the book.
Yeah. It's okay. The thing is, as far as book to TV adaptations, it's exactly the same. exact. Everything is the exact same.
It's almost like, did you think she wrote it knowing like this is, because
Yes.
here's the thing. They're going to be doing the
Haymitch.
Haymitch one, but that's not going to be another book, is it? It's just, they just are doing a TV series.
No, I think
it's a book.
So the book's going to come out and then the movie's going to come out right after?
I think so, yeah. Yeah.
Interesting.
I think that she started writing it knowing exactly that it was going to be a movie, and it's which is awesome that it's the exact same. But I mean, you don't really, the only thing that's different is you just get more inner dialogue with Cornelius Snow than you do like in the movie, because obviously he's not going to be talking out loud speaking to himself. So yeah, it was pretty much like the exact same. I mean, it has been a little bit since I've read the book, and it's been a little bit since I've watched the movie. You guys can correct me if I'm wrong, if there is like any differences, but if there is, I feel like they're so minor that I just like don't even remember. So,
well, I don't know if I love the fact that they're doing the Haymitch story in a book and then a movie, and they've already casted who Haymitch is. Like, I kind of wish I could have.
Who's Haymitch again?
Mike Feist, which I'm stoked about. Love him to death. But I almost don't love that I know who, like, it feels weird to know there's a movie. It's kind of like with Fourth Wing. Like, we know, for example, like, I'm going to be reading Onyx Storm, and I know I don't know who's casted yet, but I'm like, you're telling me I'm going to be reading Onyx Storm knowing, like, this is going to be, there's just something about that I don't love. It feels a little more exciting to read a book, love it, and then come to find out, oh, they're making a show out of it. It kind of feels weird to do it in a backwards type of order, or like at the same time, but
I guess that happened with Game of Thrones.
Oh.
Like, the books aren't complete.
Yeah, the writers of the show made up an ending to the show. So at the point where everybody starts to think Game of Thrones goes downhill is when the books end. And then the directors and the writers wrote the end of the show, and that's why everybody was so upset, because the books still aren't over.
I don't think, I've heard a rumor that he's like, I don't think they'll ever get the endings.
I could see that. Isn't that weird?
It is so sad.
I know.
But what's funny is, so obviously Divergent is another TV adaptation, which we're not going to talk about because it's kind of, old news. I will say, though, when I read the Divergent books, I loved being able to picture the actors as the characters. So maybe it's just because that felt nostalgic to me, because Divergent is so old. I'm not sure. But it is weird that she's writing books with the intention of them being movies. But hey,
get your bag, girl.
I'm still going to go see it.
Yeah. I mean, I'm a lot more interested in reading the Haymitch story than I probably was the Snow story. So
I don't know. It was pretty, like, it was good.
What was the best part to me was this was the very beginning of the Hunger Games.
Yeah.
And so they did not have like all of these things, like all these like kinks.
Yeah.
In the Hunger Games was like, I can't, what Hunger Games game is it? 10?
Yeah, it's like really,
Yeah.
And so I found that the most interesting was like pretty much how it started and like where it began versus where it's at. And a lot of the things were his idea.
Yeah. I feel like I would have enjoyed it had I picked it up when it first came out.
Yeah.
But now that it's been out a while and I still haven't read it, and I feel like I've seen spoilery things.
I think you could see, I wish I would have just watched it and not read it. Because I will say, I do feel like I loved the casting.
Yeah.
Oh,
It was good.
They did a great job doing the casting. And so
I'm pretty sure I've seen like the very end scene already. That's fun. So, yeah.
going along the same lines of childhood, young adult nostalgia books, we have The Uglies. And Mikayla is the only one that has watched it. And based on her reaction, I probably will not be watching it.
Yeah, one of my biggest regrets in my life is that I told Mikayla to read the Uglies book, and she read them. I just forgot how bad they were. I loved them as a middle schooler. loved them. So in my mind, I was like, she's going to love them because she loved, like Maze Runner, Percy Jackson, that kind of stuff. Yeah, I forgot how like bad those books are. They're just not great. And I think I had this hope that the movie, and like I said, haven't seen it, like I said, but I had this hope that this movie was going to somehow bring back more of that dystopian vibe that we've all been missing in our lives. And from the reviews that I've seen, the clips I've seen of it on TikTok, big thumbs down, unfortunately. I still am intrigued. I might hate watch it. And yeah. One day.
One day. I really just think when you're older, those books just seem really bad. But when you're younger and your world is a little bit smaller,
yes,
it seems like this really fantastic world. And like it's honestly just the lingo and verbiage of the book that really drove me crazy. I love the idea of it. I do. I love like you're in a society where everyone's ugly until you're made beautiful, but just the lingo of it drove me insane. But the movie, I just wasn't a big fan of the casting, except for what's his name? I can't remember.
I'll look it up for you.
He is very cute. He did a really good job, and I feel sad that this is I feel like one of the only movies I have seen him in. Keith Powers, he did so good. He was the best part of the movie. He was so good. That he was the only person I liked. So,
was it cheesy?
It was so cheesy.
Okay,
it was pretty dang cheesy.
How was the CGI?
Pretty terrible.
Okay.
Well, if you guys could tell with the bold
glamour
filter on her.
I'm like, did they just use all their budget on Joey King and Chase Stokes and what's the other person in it that I saw? Isn't Lucky Blue Smith in it?
He's in it for
he's in a party scene.
Second.
Hey, that's so random. I wonder if that was
he was a part of the beautiful community.
Oh, of course he was.
Yeah. Because he couldn't be anything.
Hey, imagine getting that email. Hey,
get your bag,
we just
Lucky.
need you.
Because your wife is getting it right now.
I mean, Nara's probably making more off of a single TikTok video than he probably made being in that movie. Let's be real. But
no, it was yeah. It was definitely something.
All right.
So
if anyone enjoyed it, I would love to know.
I think there were quite a few people who really did like it. So
maybe it felt, I think I saw one TikTok that the girl was like, it just felt really nostalgic for her because she had read those in middle school, absolutely loved them. And so then.
Yeah, I almost wonder because you read that where I did read it like years and years and years ago. I don't know. I don't remember too much about it, but I'm definitely going to give it a watch. Mark my word.
So. Mark my word. All right. This was turned into a TV series, A Good Girl's Guide to Murder. I have read the series. We've all read the series. Me and Reggie are the only ones that have watched it. I have some beef with it. Yeah, that's it. I don't know. They didn't make it a freaking podcast. It pisses me off.
So in the book, okay. So we've talked about A Good Girl's Guide to Murder. If you're new, and you haven't heard about the Netflix show or the book, essentially it is a book about a girl in high school who has to do this final project, and she chooses to do her paper on this unsolved murder that happened in her community.
Yeah.
And so she's trying to solve this murder, and in the process, she makes a podcast and is podcasting the whole updates on everything. And they didn't include anything like that in the movie, except for she makes a video or something.
Yeah.
And I don't even know if that followed the plot too much. I feel like it was different in the book. Here's my thing. I know you didn't love it. I mean, I wish it would have been part of it.
Mm-hmm.
I think I can just understand why they maybe didn't. And I think it's because there have been a lot of shows recently that have had podcasting involved in it, especially like Only Murders in the Building, for example, got really popular because it's about people who are trying to solve a murder with a podcast. I wonder if like maybe that played part into it, maybe not. But I do think it would have been a lot more fun to have the podcast element to it because I feel like it kind of adds in this series a little more suspense in a sense.
Well,
You know, like
if you can cut this out if this is a spoiler, but does she gain, because in the book she starts to gain traction on her podcast.
yes, there's none of that in the series.
And
That
so how
pisses me
are
off.
they going to continue on with the next book?
That was my
That's
question.
why I was curious.
How
about.
do you do that without that element?
Sorry,
don't
this
know.
fly is
No, it's
really...
okay.
Well, with Only Murders in the Building, I have watched all 3 seasons in the podcast. You see them doing the podcast like maybe for 10 seconds. That's not even the part of the story. And so I don't know. I think it was really a miss when they didn't incorporate that because it's such a big part of the story. But I mean, I understand why, like you said, but I think it was a miss because I don't know how they're going to further
Without
it.
that backstory.
Yes.
Yeah. No, yes. I kept waiting. Every episode I was like, wait, when is this gonna happen? And it just, yeah. So it will be interesting to see because besides that, I thought it was very well done. Like, I don't know if I just had really low expectations, but I really enjoyed watching it. I thought the cast was really great. The overall vibes and just like visually, I thought it was really cool. But yeah, moving forward, if they're gonna do a season 2, which I feel like a lot of people really liked it. It was rated fairly highly on Netflix when I was watching it, at least. I'm just curious to see if maybe she starts a podcast in the second season with this. I don't know. But yeah, I would love to ask why that didn't happen. So
My another complaint is it's just really dark. I couldn't watch it during the day.
I couldn't see anything.
yeah, I remember at one point, like, I was vacuuming. Or what was I doing? I wasn't vacuuming because I wouldn't have been able to hear it. I just remember I was like cleaning something up in my living room, and I kept like pacing in my room to try and see if I could get like a better view of my TV. Like, yeah, the last episode was like I couldn't see anything.
No.
I had to.
I need to watch it.
It felt like an audiobook a little
Yeah.
bit. So
Did you guys feel like it was cheesy, like a young adult show?
Yeah.
No, not so much. I mean, like, I guess when you say like cheesy kind of young adult, I automatically think Riverdale. I don't know why. It didn't give Riverdale vibes to me. Maybe it did to you. I thought it was very... I thought it was... I mean, it definitely seemed like younger. Like, a younger audience could still watch it. But, like, I don't think my husband would have enjoyed watching it with me. But... Because, I mean, yeah, they are in high school, but it didn't feel like... It didn't feel cheesy to me. But it did feel young.
Okay.
So... You'll have to let us know what you think when you watch it.
One day. This next book I wanted to include because I feel like the book doesn't get talked about and the TV show doesn't really get talked about. It is the Silo trilogy by Hugh Howey. The first book is called Wool. I can't remember if the TV show on Apple TV is called Wool or Silo, but the second season is actually coming out here shortly if it isn't already out by the time this episode drops. But if you liked Fallout, you would probably like Silo. Fallout is probably a little bit more of a fun, campy vibe, and Silo is a little bit more of a dark vibe. But basically, it's a dystopian society where people live in a silo because outside of the silo, the earth is uninhabitable. And it just kind of talks about like the people living in the silo, their community, conspiracy theories they have about the outside world. And it follows a woman who is like a detective in her silo.
So
Slash
there's how
mayor.
many books?
There's 3.
And then there's the TV show cover all 3 books or just the first?
I've actually never seen the TV show, but from what I understand based on the trailers, where I don't think the TV show ends where book 1 ends. I think the TV show ends in like the middle of book 1 from what I've kind of seen.
Okay.
But I think I rated the book like 3.5 or 4 stars. It was really fun. It's like a dystopian adult book. A little slow paced, but not anything you have to move up on your TBR. And honestly, maybe just go watch the show. But I just never hear it getting talked about. And it actually has some really big actors in the show. And I feel like Apple TV always does such a good job with their shows.
Yeah.
When you think about like Dark Matter or Shrinking or what's the one with the guy from Parks and Rec?
Ted Lasso?
Ted Lasso, but that's not the one I was thinking of. I feel like Apple TV does really well with their shows.
Yeah.
So go give that a watch. And if you like the show, then read the book.
So you would recommend the show than the book?
I mean, I've never seen the show.
The book, I guess that's right.
The book is just a little slow moving. Yeah. I listened to it and read it, which helped a lot, but it's just different.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I'm
it's
intrigued.
Like conspiracy, you know?
Mm-hmm. Sweet.
That's fun.
This next one we're going to talk about is probably one of my favorite TV or book to TV adaptations. Although they did change a few things, like they always do. And that is Daisy Jones and the Six. So Kennedy, I think we've all seen the show.
Mm-hmm.
Mikayla hasn't read the book.
Mm-mm. Mikayla will not be reading the book.
No. She will not. I would actually be so... I'm trying to decide if like Mikayla had not read any previous Taylor Jenkins Reid books. If she had read Daisy Jones and the Six, I still don't think she would have really, really liked it. But it's just very different. It's written very differently than any book I've read because it's kind of like it's just dialogue.
It's like an interview style.
Yeah, which is really cool. But I loved the TV show. So Daisy Jones and the Six, Taylor Jenkins Reid. If you've read like or heard of Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo, it's in that same author. Literally, it's just a book about drugs, sex, and rock and roll. You know, that's pretty much, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And I loved it. I loved it so much. I was a little nervous about the TV show going into it, but I ended up absolutely loving it, even though there were a few things that made me a little angry. I thought Sam Claflin did a very phenomenal job. However, I just do think he was a little too old.
Yeah.
And I would have loved them to have picked someone younger with some musical background behind them. I think it's awesome that he was like, yeah, I'm going to sing. And he did fairly well for having no experience in that regard. But like they learned the instruments and like it was very fun to watch. Yeah, his acting, I thought he was great. He just, in my mind, I'm like, he needed to just be younger and have a little more rock star vibe to him. I mean, I think he played the rock star well, but like when it came to actually performing and singing, I'm like, the musical person in me was like, please give me someone whose voice I'm like drooling over. And I wasn't, but I thought the rest of the cast was amazing. So
I will say the soundtrack had me in a chokehold for like a month after watching it. So, you know,
I actually went to. Oh, sorry.
What's her name?
Elvis's
what's her
granddaughter.
I don't know.
Oh, it's bothering me that I can't think of her name.
Anyways, she was fantastic.
Yeah, she was great. I went to a photo shoot recently, and the photographer was playing music, and one of the songs from there came on, and I was like, did you watch this TV show? And she was like, yeah, I read the book and I loved it. And so then we were like talking about it. So yeah, it's fun.
I do think the TV show made me like the book more.
Yeah.
In a weird way. But what did you think about it, having not read the book?
I thought it was okay. I don't know. I feel like I was just wasn't super invested, but I'm also not a person who normally likes those kind of shows. So it was good.
Yeah. Good music. The music behind it is really cool, and also it's set in like the 70s, so that vibe, really fun. I actually really want to rewatch the show. My husband started watching it with me, and then we forgot that we had been watching it, so yeah, I loved it.
I mean, it makes a lot of sense that you really loved the show and the book, because like it's just kind of who you are as a person. And like,
Yeah,
it
sex,
also
drugs,
makes
and rock and
sense
roll.
that you didn't really enjoy it because it's kind of like not
Yeah.
things you're super interested in. So it makes sense why.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. I also thought Sam Claflin was a little old.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
Camilla, though, that actress,
Ooh,
she's
so
so
pretty.
stunning. Oh my gosh.
so pretty.
So good.
Honestly, to me, it's not a super memorable show.
Mhm.
Like, I don't remember a ton from it. I know the basis of it, but I don't remember like anything. So I don't think I would ever watch it again. But also, I just haven't been watching shows at all. So
Can we take a quick pause? Because this has been talked about a lot on TikTok, and I just feel like we need to say something about it on the podcast. I don't think you guys have started it yet, but nobody wants this.
Oh.
So good. And I just have to say, I saw a TikTok that was a girl saying the reason why this show is so fun to watch is because she said it feels like you're reading like your favorite romance book. Like it kind of gives you that feeling.
but it's
Not to like not to like overhype it or anything, because like there's some things about it that maybe I didn't love, but it was very bingeable, very cute, and it's about these two sisters who start a podcast. Anyways, if you guys are needing something to watch, but you're like, I don't want to read a book before I watch something, there's no book, but you can go watch Nobody Wants This if you want just like cute little rom-com, because I love it. I think it's a very memorable TV show for me, and I know it seems fresh, but it was very great. So I just feel like I had to
insert that.
Insert
in.
that
What's
in
his
there.
name? Adam Brody, right?
Yes, he's so
I
freaking cute.
Loved him in the OC.
Yeah, and
He's
Kristen
married
Bell.
to Blair, Leighton Meester.
Yeah,
Mhm.
their chemistry,
Adorable.
it's so great, and yeah, it's just like it's a fun watch. So yeah, I just had to add that in there. So, anyways,
I'll get to that eventually.
back to books.
I don't know when I will, but
I gotta watch A Good Girl's Guide to Murder. I gotta watch A Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes. I'll get to it. The next book, TV adaptation we're gonna talk about it's all about Mikayla. Well, it's all on Mikayla because I've never read or seen the Percy Jackson series. So, Mikayla, the floor is yours.
okay, Kansas. Just kidding. I loved the Percy Jackson series growing up, and so I made it a goal to reread them before the TV show came out. And so it was very fresh on my brain. And it was good. I feel like it follows the book pretty closely. It is like a young, like it's geared towards, you know, a younger audience, but it was very nostalgic for me. I'm really excited about season 2. I don't know if you guys have seen, his voice has changed so much, and it's so cute. He's just like growing up, and it's so fun because it's kind of how Harry Potter was, with these kids just getting to watch them grow up in each movie. So I think it's going to be really a great thing for these kids, and it's fun that we get to see them grow up together. So they actually were in Disney World the day before me and Kennedy were there.
No way.
Yeah,
How rude.
I know. So I think they were just in a different park than we were in.
Dang it.
Yeah. So yeah, I think he plays the most perfect Percy Jackson, and I just think he's a cutie. So I'm really excited to see what this new season brings. So
Hopefully it will be as successful as Harry Potter. Because I know the first time they tried the Percy Jackson, it was not good.
I actually loved those movies, but it did not follow like the books at all.
I read the very first Percy Jackson. How many books are there?
There's 5.
I think I only read the first one. Maybe I read the second one. And I remember watching the movies because like I was excited about it. And I even remember as a kid being like, huh? A little bit. So yeah.
It's just the iconic poker face in the Lotus Hotel.
Yeah.
The scene of dun, 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 dun. Everyone's like, if they don't put that in the new, I'm like, they're not going to put that in the new show, but it was very iconic.
Yeah.
I just think it's so funny because the girl in the original movies of Percy Jackson is the sister to the guy that everybody casts as Azrael, the Daddario.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
I just feel like that's, I don't know why I find that funny, but
Yeah. And yeah. Yeah. It was good. I'm excited for season 2. See what it brings to the table. The series is very nostalgic. I really want to read the second series. It's Roman gods instead of Greek gods. And I think in this other series, they're a little bit older than Percy Jackson.
Same author?
Yeah. Rick Riordan. So, very, very fun. Love it.
Okay, the last book to movie adaptation we're going to talk about that's already out, and it's probably the reason you're here, because you want to hear us talk about this. Maybe not, just kidding. It ends with us. And if you didn't know this, we did have an event where we had a private screening with a whole bunch of listeners where we watched the movie together and had a little portion after where we discussed the movie, and it was so much fun. But
Really fun.
we haven't talked about It Ends With Us on the podcast.
Yeah, and it might be old news because it's been a while since it's been out, but those of you who didn't get to come to the event, I did a question box on our Instagram story not too long ago where I was asking like what kind of episodes you want to see or like something like that, and so many people were like, talk about It Ends With Us. I'm like, oh, that's right. Like we've talked about it, but literally we talked about it immediately after we watched the movie. So we can give our brief thoughts. Who wants to go first?
I can go first really quick. I think that I almost called him Raphael. What is his name?
Justin Baldoni.
Justin Baldoni did fantastic as Ryle. I think he was a great Ryle. I think he did such a great job. I think that they were still a little old, but it's okay. And overall, I think I gave it like a 4 out of 5. But I would say Justin Baldoni was a shining star for me in the movie, personally. Oh, and the sister.
Oh,
Loved
yes.
her.
Yeah.
We didn't get enough of
her.
It's Alyssa?
Yes,
And Marshall.
I loved her. I was very unsure about her casting because she plays one of the most annoying characters in Parks and Recreation on planet Earth. And I feel like she kind of has that typecast.
Yeah.
So I was a little unsure, but she was one of my favorite characters. And I think, once again, Justin Baldoni as Ryle did a fantastic job. So,
yeah.
My thoughts. There you go.
Yeah, I thought it was well done. Like, it was a lot better than I thought it was going to be, for sure. I agree with everything you said. I also feel like there were just maybe some changes, which I don't want to say what changes because for sake of spoilers, if you haven't read the book, I'm going to guess most of you maybe have, but there were just some bigger moments in the book that I don't see why it would have been hard to include them in the movie. And I know you have to like take away things, and I understand you can't fit everything into one movie, but I just think some things would have hit a little bit deeper and a little bit harder had they included just some smaller details in the movie. And I feel as if I also just feel like we didn't get enough of even like there's backstory of like the flashbacks. I wish we would have gotten a little more of that, so it had more of an emotional impact, like I was saying, of things that got taken away. And also I just feel like we didn't get a lot with like Marshall and Alyssa. I feel like we could have gotten a little more from them. I don't know. And also just like Atlas overall, I kind of feel like we didn't get as much of him as we should have gotten. So yeah, I still thought it was very well done. Very well done. I just, like most adaptations, would have loved to have seen a little bit more. So yeah.
I agree with pretty much everything you guys said. I've seen it twice.
Probably the second time you didn't see it where their faces were distorted.
Yeah,
We sat in the very front row on the left, so their faces were kind of wonky.
It wasn't distorted. It was good. Yeah, I just felt like, yeah, they just missed some things. They missed the mark on something. So, which I feel like happens a lot with book to movie, TV adaptations. We want all something and they deny us what they could actually give us.
Yeah.
So
I think it's hard when, not to say every book should be made into a TV show, because I don't think It Ends With Us needed to be a TV show. But when you sit and think about it, books that are made into TV shows, they have 7 hours of content to give us, whereas a movie, they have 2. Yeah. So when you're reading, I don't know how long It Ends With Us is. Let's just say it's a 350 or 400 page book. Yeah, of course, they're going to have to cut some things out, but also, to your guys' point, some of the things they included, it's kind of like, why did they decide to include that, but they took this out? Or why did they make this change when it didn't need to be changed?
Yeah.
So.
Very nice. Well, that was really fun. So let's talk about book to movie adaptations that are coming out. Like official. I know there's like quite a few that are rumored, but these are like officially have been picked up
in production.
Yes. So,
all right. Fourth Wing. Let's talk about it. I don't really feel like I have a lot to say other than after seeing some interviews with Rebecca Yarros, I'm feeling a little more, I don't want to say my expectations are a little bit higher, but I think they might be. She just seems like one of those people that just, she's not going to take no for an answer. Like, she is just like, this is the way we're going to do it. And she seems like she's very involved. So yeah, I'm very intrigued to see when it's going to come out.
Well, did you guys see the interview? I was so confused by this interview. Well, number one, she was talking about how, I can't remember what question was asked, but she basically was like, when it got picked up by the production company, she had to tell them the whole synopsis of the series, so she had to know how it was going to end. But then she went on to say, and maybe I misunderstood what she was saying, that some of the deaths in the TV show and in the book are going to be different. She
said,
how does that make sense?
I feel like she was making it say like the only thing that is the only changes they're really making or something. I honestly think someone in the comments said this, and this is what I'm hoping. I don't think she means that like, oh, in the book, I'm going to kill off this certain main character down the line, but that's not going to happen in the TV show or vice versa. I almost took it as, after I saw this comment, that maybe there's just going to be, maybe they're going to have to like cut some characters from the show because, like that's a lot of money to cast like this huge group of friends, and think about it, you gotta like cast all the voices for all the dragons. Like, I feel like they're gonna be like, hey, for sake of budget, we maybe need to like cut the cast down a little bit. That's how a lot of people in the comments were kind of taking it. I can't imagine that like the death of a character is, because that could change the entire plot of a book in a sense. So
that's why I was confused.
I can see that, but I also feel like there's these characters that are important.
Yeah.
So like, I feel like my only thoughts on this is I hope it's just done well. like the CGI.
That's what I was gonna
better
say.
Be freaking top tier, or it's gonna be ruined. I don't care how good of a actor you cast or how good the casting is. If the CGI is absolute garbage, it's gonna be a terrible show.
Yeah, because it just gives off like low budget. It makes it automatically so much more cheesy.
Yes.
You know?
Well, think about how much CGI is going to be in that show.
There's so much
CGI. You hope it. I mean, I haven't gone through and watched all of Game of Thrones, but from what I understand, Game of Thrones CGI was done very well. So hopefully it's like that.
The CGIs. I also feel like depending on when it comes out and when they start production of like the next episodes or season or however they're doing it, if it does well, that like how Game of Thrones was, they're gonna have a much bigger budget for
Which
the next
sucks,
ones they
though.
do. Yeah, so
because the first season dictates if they're going to be getting more.
Maybe they'll cut it how it's. Maybe the first book isn't the first season. Do you know? You know what I mean? Maybe it's more so just based in the college, less fighting. I don't know.
maybe they only do it like for like how they're doing a lot of TV shows now, like Outer Banks, for example. It's like watch the first 4 episodes. I mean, I know they kind of like, you know, maybe they split it up.
Where is it?
I don't
Where
know.
is it streaming? Is it going to be
Amazon.
Oh.
Yeah.
Amazon freaks me out a little.
Yeah,
I
that
can't
makes me
lie. They're very
nervous.
hit or miss. They're very hit or miss. Netflix also used to be very good, but they're also very hit or miss.
Yeah,
now.
right now I'm like,
But Rings of
Hulu?
Power.
Were they at? Was
Or-
that Amazon?
Yes.
You know what? Now that you think, when you say it, any streaming service is hit or miss.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I don't
we
know.
have faith. We have faith.
I'm putting my faith in Rebecca Yarros, and I just am hoping. I think my biggest thing is that I'm just hoping, well, like Mikayla said, that it's done well. But also, I just hope this doesn't change the feel of the books, where it's like it feels like she had to hurry and finish them for the sake of the TV show. I just really hope that. I mean, it sounds like she has the whole story complete before she kind of had to talk to him about the TV show, but I just hope it doesn't make the writing process rushed along, which it might be. I don't know how far she is, but yeah.
I feel like we won't get the show until maybe the 4th or 5th book is out.
Yeah, I'm hoping it takes them years to film it. That's how you know it's going to be good.
Because they haven't even come out with like the cast or
Mhm.
anything. So obviously they haven't. Unless they're keeping it
yeah.
under wraps.
Sometimes I just wish we wouldn't know about these announcements, because I'm like, I would be fine to wait a year to find out they're, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I'm like, now I'm going to be sitting and thinking about this
Mm-hmm.
for however long.
I'm too focused on the next book.
Yeah.
The TV show, meh. Because here's the thing. Yeah, anyways. Okay,
Well,
the next one.
yeah, next one.
I'm actually more excited for this one than I am for Fourth Wing, because I feel like this one's going to be hard to mess up. Maybe you guys feel differently?
I think it's going to depend on the cast.
Yeah.
Meaning, like, there's not as much CGI that's going into this book, which is Powerless by Lauren Roberts. I just think
Yeah, there's
not as much CGI, and so it worries me less than
Yeah.
Fourth Wing does.
Yes.
Mhm.
Because it's just people's powers.
Yeah.
Which people have done pretty good.
Yeah. I also feel like because it's young adult, there's just something about it that feels like it, and just that the one-liners that she writes, whoever the cast, I really trust that they're going to pick someone who is going to deliver these lines well. But just see that on the screen, I'm already feeling giddy about it, and I'm just hoping we're not disappointed in any sense of Kai. But
I think no matter who they cast, it's never going to meet what I have in my head.
of course. But I think that sometimes, even when it's not what's in your brain, you can still kind of be like, okay, like I don't know. I mean, this is also probably gonna take a while.
But also, guys, think about how cool this is for Lauren Roberts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When 2 years ago or however long ago, she was on TikTok, doing her thing. She decided to think about like how much success she has had since publishing Powerless. That like almost makes me emotional for her, and I don't like personally know her. I just think that is so incredible and so cool. And this is her first book.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And look at how far it's come.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm excited for her. So I also just hope for her sake that it's everything that she dreams that it can be. So
yeah, I just hope this one. I hope that casting is done really well, and I have faith. I have faith. There was this guy going around that people were like, this person needs to be Kai. I can't remember his name. But
I've seen one where people are saying he's like auditioning for Resand, but then everyone says he should be Zayden. Is it that guy?
I've seen that guy.
Okay.
I don't know.
I need to see who you're
I
talking
don't.
about.
He wouldn't fit Kai for me.
No.
I don't think it was that one.
That's just like the only thing I've seen recently on TikTok. So I was wondering if they were also talking about him for that. But yeah.
Live, laugh, Lauren Roberts.
Seriously.
Okay. Next one. People we meet on vacation, which is already in production. We've seen sneak peeks of some of the filming and they recreated the cover. I'm obsessed. I'm really excited for this one. I don't think they can mess this up at all.
Yeah, I mean, it's a rom-com. They have a great cast. And I kind of lost my train of thought, but basically, I just think it's a really great cast. Very fun vibes for a book to read, but then to see it on the screen is going to be really fun. And yeah, I just mostly the cast, I'm just very excited, and I think it's going to set Emily Henry's movies up for even more budget success. Cast, I just can't wait to see how well it does. So.
Well, they go to Palm Springs, don't they? Right? It's in Palm Springs.
It's all over.
Yeah,
I know, but the wedding is in Palm Springs, right?
Yeah,
that's gonna be fun.
Yeah,
I
can't wait.
It's gonna be so fun.
Okay, and the last one we're going to talk about now. Obviously, this list is not exhaustive. There's so many other books that are being made into TV shows and movies, but these are the ones we chose. So maybe we need to do a part two.
Yeah.
Project Hail Mary by Andy Weir. And the one thing I'm going to say, love Ryan Gosling. Other thing I'm going to say, I said this before, but I think this is going to be a better movie than it is a book.
I think so too.
Yeah, same.
Yeah, Ryan Gosling is
top tier.
Top is the cast, pretty much.
And for reasons I cannot say, I just think it's going to be a better movie than book.
Oh, yeah, I think so too.
Yeah.
I'm so excited.
Me too.
And if you haven't read Project Hail Mary,
listen to it on audiobook.
Listen to it on Audible because it is a very great experience. And we can't say why.
Yes. And I know I'll cry watching the movie.
Oh, yeah. It's so great. If you've read The Martian or seen the movie The Martian, same author, same kind of vibe. But yeah, I really love that book. I will think about that book for a long time. So looking forward to the movie.
2026, baby.
Gosh, is anything coming out in 2025? I feel like everything's 2026, but it's fine. More books to read.
All right, and that concludes our episode. Obviously, I think there is a lot more books / movies, TV shows that we could talk about. So maybe we need to do a part 2 in a little bit. We hope you enjoyed, and we'll see you guys next week. Bye.